Internet, my name's Lave and I've got my Marvel t-shirt on, so it must be time to talk about Avengers Endgame, which I actually watched yesterday, and I probably could have reviewed it yesterday as well, but I felt like I needed time to let it all sink in and really think about it, and also to think about how I'm going to review this without giving away any spoilers. So here goes. So picking up after the events of Infinity War, Thanos is chilling out in his Garden of Eden after wiping out half of all living creatures in the universe. With our heroes scattered and bruised, those that are left reassemble to try and figure out a way of reversing what he did. So let's talk about the directors, Anthony and Joe Russo, who once again have the unenviable, humongous task of bringing together so many characters with so many storylines, mixing in different tones and styles into one cinematic epic, which has to have a sense of closure, but also still carry the MCU into its next phase. And they have done it again. I know a lot of people are referring to this as the Infinity Saga, but I'm going to call it the Russo Avengers trilogy, with Civil War being their first Avengers movie, because it is. You've got Infinity War as their second Avengers movie, and now this, Endgame, as their trilogy closer. I know they did do Captain America Winter Soldier, but that's a Captain America movie, not an Avengers movie, come fight me. Comparing Endgame with Civil and Infinity War, which personally for me nailed the balance and tone of superhero action fun with emotionally driven drama, Endgame is without a doubt their biggest challenge yet, switching on a dime from somber, bleak character moments to light-hearted jokes that Marvel is known for. Out of all of their other Marvel films, this was the first time where I felt some of the humour was a bit misjudged. I sat back on a couple of occasions and thought, I wish they didn't make a joke in that moment. It just felt at odds with the gloominess of the situation. I really loved, and I think the film is at its best when they have the quieter moments, and there's plenty of them, which are really touching when certain characters reunite and they bond over their sorrow and their grief, which brings these superhero characters right back down to earth and makes them so real, with real emotions and feelings. That's not to say that the movie didn't make me laugh out loud on more than one occasion, because it did, and when they put their plan into action, it is a ton of fun, with twists and turns and endless callbacks reminding us how, when and where we fell in love with these characters in the first place. This is the ultimate love letter to the fans of these movies. Now, with regards to the plan that the Avengers come up with to try and save those that they've lost, I'm not going to spoil anything, but what I will say is that I don't think it's going to hold up under scrutiny upon multiple viewings. What I normally love about the Russos and what I respect about them so much is that they try to make their stories airtight. They went on to Screen Junkies once, I think on the release of Civil War, and said in an interview that they try to make their films honest trailer proof and explain any plot holes or nitpicks within the story. Now in Endgame, the rules that they come up with within this movie are explained by the characters for sure, but it felt a bit flimsy. It's basically got characters saying, this is how it works, not like this, just because it just felt a bit flimsy. It felt like the Russos were conceding to some of the silliness at times, but then at the same time it does acknowledge it. A character at one point says, dude, I get emails from a talking raccoon. So it is a bit silly, which compared to like Civil War and Infinity War, there were laughs for sure, but it always felt kind of gritty and real. I can't really explain myself any further or go into any extra detail for fear of spoilers. What I will say is that the film does the most important thing right for me. It resonated with me emotionally, and I did have a ton of fun with it. I completely admit that I'm not the most knowledgeable when it comes to the actual comics, but even I noticed certain scenes and certain things that they did which have been directly lifted from the comic book pages. There are some proper fist-pumping, cheer-out-loud moments which are so pleasing and so amazing. Like literally everyone in my screening, I saw this in IMAX and it was packed. Everyone was cheering out loud, and the way that the film wraps up, it just went deathly silent. It was so like emotionally engaging. It really hit me there. I did choke up, and I'm not ashamed to admit it. Amazingly, I think that is the film's biggest achievement, is that it does have a sense of closure to it, whilst also carrying it on into phase 4. The only other thing I can and will say at the moment is that this film isn't about Thanos like Infinity War was. He is in it, but it's not about him. It's very much about our heroes. You do get to see more of the characters who weren't in Infinity War, like Paul Rudd's Ant-Man, and Hawkeye is in this one. He's great. You also do get to see Captain Marvel, the latest addition to the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but not as much as I was hoping. And going back to like the purely factual stuff, there are things in there which you will expect. Like there's a lovely Stan Lee credit in there, which is just lovely. Rest in peace, Stan. But the most surprising thing is that there isn't an end or mid-credit scene. So yeah, just saved you 10 minutes there. There is like an audible noise at the end, but it's really not worth hanging around for. You can leave when the film is over. So that's my thoughts on Avengers Endgame, which I have coded to avoid any spoilers, but hopefully it gives you an idea of how much I enjoyed it. Like I say, I'm calling this the closer to the Russo's Avengers trilogy. Now, as it stands, after one viewing, I still think Infinity War made more of an impact on me. I think it is the Empire Strikes Back of the Avengers movies. But then having said that, I do think that Endgame is a much more satisfying conclusion than Return of the Jedi was, if that makes any sense. Probably not. So thanks very much for watching this review. If you've seen it, let me know what you thought down in the comments. I will be doing a spoiler review for this. I've got to go and see it again, and I can't wait, to be honest. So keep an eye out for that at some point over the weekend. And as always, thanks very much for watching this review. I really do appreciate it. If you can, give it a like, and don't forget to share the lave. Subscribe.